All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Age of the Prime's Voyager class Autobot Red Alert. And yeah, this is a figure that I've been excited about for a while because this is a new version of Armada Red Alert. They didn't call him that on the package, so I guess they're kind of doing away with the whole, whatever universe person, like they're just calling him Autobot Red Alert because, we know where he's from. But yeah, no, new version of Armada Red Alert. It's kind of exciting because Red Alert is a character that I've always liked from the Unicron trilogy, but I never had the original toy, and it always looked a little bit clunky and boxy. But yeah, no, this figure does not disappoint. He's a really, really solid Voyager. He's got a nice little vehicle mode here that turns into the ambulance, whatever, search and rescue vehicle, whatever the original Armada Red Alert was supposed to be. And yeah, it works pretty decently well. He's got a ton of paint on here, which is nice. He rolls decently well. He feels honestly like really chunky and hefty. It's kind of a similar effect to whatever they did with Velocitron Override a few years back, because like he definitely, I don't know, he feels like he's got the plastic quality of like an original Unicron trilogy toy, where there's just like thicker kind of plastic and it has this sort of like glossier finish rather than like the matte finish that a lot of figures have nowadays, which is not something that I dislike necessarily about modern figures, but it is kind of a nice throwback to get to more of that sort of like, I don't know, hard feeling plastic there. I don't really know how to describe it, but as I didn't with Override either. But either way, that is all to say he's got a very nice vehicle mode here. He does come with a few accessories. Obviously he comes with his gun here, which was, it's like a recreation of the the Minicon flip out gimmick that the original toy had, which, doesn't require a Minicon here. It's just like a, folding away weapon, but it does complete his vehicle mode. I was so glad that when they included this accessory that they actually made it part of the vehicle mode, because I feel like that's like a 50-50. They could have just like made it a thing that looked like it was supposed to be part of the vehicle mode and stuck it on top. But yeah, it's got this little flip out panel here that you can just peg it into right like that and just fold it away and it becomes part of the vehicle mode. And yeah, the panel up here is the dark gray, but still I feel like that works pretty well, and it makes for a nice unobtrusive weapon storage. And then he does also come with a few little like hand accessories here for his one hand that doesn't have a hand. He's got the little, kind of classic one that he had in the cartoon. He's got the little claw here, and then he's got the little 3 triple-barreled gun there. And any of those you can also plug into the gun here. Obviously, they can't actually like store in there like that, unfortunately, but you can do that. I do find that they, for whatever reason, I don't know, they've got these little like 3mm ports on here, which you could peg in up here if you wanted to. They do have proper places to store in the vehicle mode, but I'm not going to show those off now because they're really not super accessible from the vehicle mode. You kind of have to do it like in robot mode or during transformation, but trust me, they can all stay inside and completely unobtrusively, which is nice to see. I mean, obviously it's not that difficult to store these little bits, but still, it's nice that he actually does have that functionality. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, just for a standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe. I should have brought out Kingdom Red Alert since he's the same mold, but yeah, I feel like that scales pretty well. Like I said, nice beefy Voyager. I feel like he works well with deluxe cars. Here he is with our I don't remember, something from Legacy, Hot Shot and Optimus Prime, the Commander class. So you can see what the main original trio looks like there from Armada. And yeah, I think they look really good together. I think that this works super well. Obviously, I know I really like this toy. I really like this toy. I really don't like this toy very much. So it's kind of a shame, but either way, I think the three of them look really, really cool together. And while I don't have an original Armada Red Alert, I do actually have an original Armada Long Arm, his Minicon partner, so you can see what the two of them look like together. And thankfully, I think they've heard our cries here because they did away with these for a little bit, but on the Armada figures, he does actually have a Minicon port again, which is nice to see. So you can actually plug on It's a kind of a tight fit, and then also it bumps in here. I'm sure they're going to make a new long arm at some point, but you can actually plug on long arm to the top there and kind of, flip this out ahead of time to mimic the Minicon gimmick there, which I do appreciate. But yeah, no, I think that they look pretty good together, and I'm happy that he actually has the ability to plug on to the vehicle mode there, unlike a few other of the recent Armada figures. But yeah, that's what they look like together. And to get onto transformation, he's got a fairly decent transformation. It's pretty involved, but it's all kind of intuitive and makes sense. First thing you want to do is just unplug these bits here from the back, so you can take this entire back section, just fold that up, and take this panel and fold it to the inside. It'll just tab into that slot there. Then you can take these back bits and they kind of rotate down a little bit, so you can take the entire waist section and kind of click it into place just like that, and then take the lower legs, which are folded up here, and then just fold them around and then lock them into place. Then flip out the feet and the heels. The heels can be kind of a pain to get out, but they are like hollow on one side. So if you can get your fingernail under the like inside of the leg and flip it out, you can see there's not, it doesn't have the like wall here on the inside, which makes it a lot easier to flip out, because I was struggling with that at first, because they're they're not super tight in there, but they're just hard to get a grip on until I found that he had that section there. So there's the legs all done, pretty simple. We can kind of just bring this up a little bit, take the doors, fold them out to the side like this, fold them down, and then his arms are just folded up in here just like this, and you want to kind of unlock them from the doors so that these can kind of sit angled like shoulder pads, and then rotate the arms forward. He does only have the hand on one side so that you can plug in the stuff here. On some original renders of this guy, they showed that him coming with a second hand, just because I think they didn't want to, like show off product photography of the figure only having one hand, since they didn't have the accessory attached. But he does just have the one hand, and then this one is the where the weapon port is. And this is actually I think this is still a mushroom peg, so these are not just mirrored molds. Like, this one's actually different. And then you want to kind of fold this bit down. You kind of get your fingernail on this like black bit here, and then fold that up, and then it gets kind of hard to get the head out, but it's got this little tab that you can kind of get your fingernail on, and then rotate the head out, take this panel here, fold it to the inside of this panel, which kind of has like I guess this is like a super minimal fake part, but like the vent here on the blue lines is replicated on the other side of it a little bit, which is kind of funny. But then you just fold that down, and then you take the windshield, the whole back section, and this tab will go into this slot right here, and then the windshield itself will just kind of fold down onto the back there to be a little bit more out of the way. And there we have Armada Red Alert in his robot mode. And yeah, I think he looks awesome. Like, he definitely looks a lot more proportional than the original Armada toy, and just looks so much like he did in the cartoon. And it's really, really satisfying to see. He's definitely got that like RoboCop aesthetic. But yeah, obviously to complete the look here, we have got to bring on his little hand accessories. Now, this is definitely the one I prefer to have on him, because this is pretty much the one he used all the time in the show. You can just plug that into his hand here. They all do have designated storage spots. On the back of the legs here, he's got these slots here that fit the clear red accessories, and I think that they're the same mold on either side, so either one could fit in either place. But just take this one here and slot it in like that. And then for the little claw accessory here, if you just fold open the backpack here and fold open this section, he's got this little spot right here, and this little tab here it kind of like grabs onto and sits in like that. So that's how all that stuff is stored, and all of that obviously can stay in each of those places in the vehicle mode as well. Unfortunately, excuse me. Unfortunately, you do have to remove this and put it in the back of this leg when going to vehicle mode, because there just isn't the like clearance to keep this on there. I sort of wish you could have just kept it attached, but not the end of the world. But yeah, no, I think he looks fantastic. He's got pretty decent articulation too. The head is on a ball joint. A lot of the joints on this guy are really, really tight. This is one of them. So you can rotate it around like that. and then kind of he can look all the way up pretty much. He does also have this like, transformation joint, which allows it a little bit of wiggle back and forth. I do sort of wish his neck was a little bit taller because I don't know, he's kind of like his chin is always bumping into this piece, and I feel like visually it could be a little bit higher, but that's a nitpick. The shoulders can rotate around like that and rotate out to the side, kind of with or without the shoulder pad. You can keep it as out to the side as you want. You could keep it like that. I kind of prefer it at an angle like this. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got a double jointed elbow on both sides, and this is honestly one of my problems with the figure. It's not like the worst thing, but like the knees, the elbows, and the ankles here have all like these unnecessary like tight detenting stopping points, which is like why with this double jointed elbow does there need to be like hard stopping points like there and there? Because like, I mean, it's they're soft, so you can kind of cheat them and get in between, but like it's just a real pain for what should just have been like a simple double hinged like joint there, that like the arms are A, really tight, and B, also have these like super defined locking points, because it's just like I don't know, it just limits the articulation in some kind of annoying ways. So yeah, that's the elbow. This wrist is on a swivel here. He does have a waist joint, though obviously it bumps into the backpack, but if you fold that up a little bit, it goes all the way around. Hips can go forward, back only about that far before they bump into the backpack, but they can go further back. The joint allows them to go further back, and then out to the side about that far. He's got a thigh swivel. Again, these knees, which they mostly just have like they lock into the kind of upright position, and then from there you can't just like bend it slightly. It has to be like here, but again, you can kind of cheat, but like why? And then the same thing with the ankles here. I mean, he's got regular ankle tilt, but then the forward and backward movement is like either it's like this or like that or like that, and it's just like, again, I can appreciate it a little bit more on the ankles because those are like more weight bearing joints, so you really don't want those to be loose, but still it is just kind of annoying. Mostly I just wish that they had more detents, and then also like these bits can rotate, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's just kind of like for the ease of transformation, so like when you're untabbing the legs, but you could, if you want, like fold these around as part of the transformation. I don't think that looks particularly good, or that looks particularly good, or that looks particularly good. I just leave them like this, and I'm pretty sure that's what you're supposed to do with them. But so yeah, kind of strange. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather the joints be too tight than too loose. So it's not the end of the world, but that is my one complaint about this guy, is just like these sort of unnecessary detents on the the ankles, knees, and elbows here. And he's got 2 elbow joints, and it has that on both of them. So it just makes it a little bit more of a challenge to like actually get him in a just like a like subtle pose. If you're going for some like crazy action pose, it's not too big of a deal, but it is just a little bit more annoying than it really has to be. Now, he doesn't have any sort of gimmick with the chest opening up and like shooting a disc out or whatever, which is fine. I mean, there's really just not the room for it, but obviously, you can still flip the gun around here. It's on a double hinge, so you can rotate it up enough so that it like sits over his shoulder, though it does kind of cling right to his head here, which is a little weird. But obviously, you can also unplug it and then have him hold it in his hand, which I think looks pretty good there. You could put a blast effect in there, or you could put one of the little, like removable gun bits in there, since he's got a few of them. So you could use that one as like a surgical tool, and then the other one is like a gun, and then leave this one in the hand. That's what I tend to do, but either way, that's pretty cool there. But yeah, obviously you could still plug the Minicon onto the back there. Just plug this back in. Put that off to the side for now, but yeah, obviously, totally unobtrusive storage, just becomes part of the backpack, and I really do appreciate that, which is just, another good thing about like the Unicron trilogy designs. When they update those, is they tend to have integrated weapon storage, just because if they're paying proper homage to those figures, they also did. So yeah, it's always something that I appreciate. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Kingdom's side swipes, so you can see what it looks like with an average size deluxe there. And so yeah, you know, he's not a super tall Voyager, but they look good together. Here he is again with Optimus Prime and Hot Shot here, so you can see what he looks like with the two of them. And yeah, I think that this is a really good looking trio. I mean, I have him on a separate shelf because I've got these guys on my Canon display and then him in my, like, you know, non-Canon Optimus Prime display, but still, undeniably, the three of them look very, very good together. And it's definitely nice to see that treatment for the original trio of Autobots from Armada. Even if I think Hotshot is not a very good toy, still he does look good with the two of them. And then last but not least, here he is again with Long Arm, just so you can see what he looks like with his Minicon partner there. Obviously, you know, the blue is not like a perfect match, and he doesn't have any of the like brown plastic that the original toy had to kind of, you know, match the same aesthetic as the Minicon, but still, I think that they look pretty good together. And now he does have like plenty of ports here, so I'm guessing if they make a new long arm, he'll probably have the peg. But I do appreciate that they did also put the Minicon port, so you could still have him, you know, integrate with the old Minicons. That's something that I feel like all of the upgraded Armada figures should have. But yeah, no, he's a really, really nice, solid figure. Again, my one complaint is just like the kind of, you know, stiffness of some of those joints, but having overly stiff joints is way better than having floppy joints, so I can't complain too much about it. He also has like really nice functional light piping, which is good to see, because I feel like they don't often do light piping, like they don't really commit to it all that often anymore, so that's really nice to see as well. But yeah, no, just a really solid figure and a well-needed update of a old toy. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday and Thursday, and without further ado, here we have Transformers Age of the Primes Autobot Red Alert.